Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all having a great Wednesday evening. Had my first day of work back in 7 weeks. Went pretty good today, so we'll be back to work tomorrow again, and we'll have another video again tomorrow, but we'll have one today. And I decided that I wanted to do some small sets of racing, but before we get into that, special thanks to my friend Ken, who gave me these cards this afternoon. He knows that I'm working on some score sets. He didn't know what numbers I needed, but he had bought a Meyer Power Cube, so he had some 88 scores here. Various ones from 88. Then a 90 score. I've opened a couple of boxes of these, so I should be close to a set. I just haven't really taken the time to try to put it together. Got a couple of 91 score, or another 91 score there, a 91 score high number, and a 91 score traded. So once again, thank you, Ken. I do appreciate that. We'll put those with my other baseball cards and the sets that I'm working on. Maybe I'll get them in an album sometime. I really would rather do that with my sets instead of having them in a box. But anyway, had a few small racing sets that I wanted to share with everybody today. This first one is from Upper Deck, and I can't read it because I have my contacts in. Let me see. I believe it's 96. Looking at it off camera. I'm pretty sure this is 96, but I always get the Upper Deck Series 2 and Upper Deck 95 Series 2 and 96 predictors confused. But there you see a nice Jeff Gordon to lead off the set. And the back of them, this is actually the redemption set, I believe, because the back would have had the rules of the predictor on each card. So this was a redemption set. I believe I got this in a collection. I don't believe I actually redeemed it, but I did get it in a collection that I had bought a long time ago. There we have Mark Martin, driving for Roush at the time. Rusty Wallace, who had a strong 94-95 campaign. For Penske, we have Ernie Irvan. Of course, Ernie was in a serious crash in Michigan in 1994, and come back and won at the track in 1997 for his final career win. And we have Bobby Labonte, whose rise to stardom came with the Joe Gibbs team. Bill Elliott, who was driving for his own team at the time, co-owned with Charles Hardy. Sterling Marlin, who was a two-time Daytona 500 winner for Morgan McClure. Ricky Rudd, who was in the middle of driving his own number 10 Tide Ford. You had, is that Rick Mass? Yeah, Rick Mass. I was wondering why he had an MBNA hat on, but it's probably from a pole that he would have won, maybe, at Dover in 96. I know the first two poles he had is Atlanta at 92, in that exciting six-way battle for the title, and Rick Mast wins his first career pole. His second career pole was the 94 Brickyard 400. So his first two career poles were in really big races, and I believe the fall race at Dover at 96 is where this pole award was from. I could be wrong, but I'll need to look that one up. And then the long shot, which basically meant if nobody in the field won a particular race, then the long shot card automatically became a predictor winner card. So somebody maybe like if Dale Earnhardt won the race, since he wasn't an Upper Deck contracted driver, then if Dale Earnhardt won a particular race that was listed in the predictor contest, then the long shot card automatically became a winner. This next set's one of my personal favorites. It's 1995 Ruby Crown Jewels, Dual Jewels. It's only a 6-card set, but here you see on the first card you have Dale Earnhardt on the front and Jeff Gordon on the back, and there you see the number DJ1. I believe there was other levels of this. I believe they had Emerald, Diamond, and whatever, maybe the Sapphire level as well. The next card has Rusty Wallace, maybe a 5-card set. I'm a little bit out of touch on this set because I haven't had it out in a while, so Dale Jarrett and Rusty. And then the next one you have Bill Elliott on the back and Terry Labonte on the front. Fourth card is Mark Martin and Ernie Irvan. Yes, it is a 6-card set because Kyle Petty would not be the last card. Then you have Kyle Petty. Whoop, sorry about that. Kyle Petty and Ricky Rudd. And then the last card of this set was Dale Earnhardt. And you're saying, but Dale Earnhardt was on the first card. Yeah, he was on the first card right there. But he was also on the last card with Dave Marcus on the back of that card. I think eventually I may try to get the emerald, and maybe the diamond version of this set. I'm not real sure what other levels exist, but I would eventually like to get the emerald set. This next set is from 1998 Maxx 10th Anniversary, and it's called Champions Past. So it's reflecting on Winston Cup champions of different years, obviously in the Winston era. So here you have Jeff Gordon, and it has his past championships at that time, just 95 and 97. Of course, he would go on to dominate and win the 98 championship by a wide margin. And this is a 10-card set, by the way. And they're starting to stick together. The next one is Terry Labonte, 1984 and 1996 champion. I'll show you the backs of the card real quick. It does give you career stats up for the last handful of years for each driver. And of course there you see the Upper Deck logo. Then you have Earnhardt, who at the time was a 7-time champion with championships in 80, 86, 80, 86, 87, 90, 91, 93, and 94. Can't really see it for the camera. Then you have Alan Kawicki, who was the 1992 champion. Bill Elliott, who was the 88 champion. Darrell Waltrip, who was the 81, 82, and 85 champion. But his championships came in the number 11 car that Junior Johnson owned. But in 1998, during the manufacture of these cards, he was driving Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s number 1 Pennzoil car there. Now you have Bobby Allison. They have him pictured in the Matador that he ran in the mid-70s, but his championship was in 1983 in Dygard's Miller Buicks. Then you have Richard Petty, which is funny. Some of his championships came before Winston was a sponsor, so I know he won the championship in 79, and I'm walking backwards here. I think he also won in 75, 74, and then 67, 64, and I think 61. Let's see how good I did on that. There's 79, 75, 74. Okay, I missed 72 and 71. There's 67 and 64. Yep, so I missed 72 and 71. I knew Bobby Isaac had a title in 70, so just counting backwards, I missed Cale Yarborough, who was 76, 77, and 78 champion driving for Junior Johnson. And we are back at Jeff Gordon again. So that pretty much covered all your Winston Cup champions, although I don't think I've seen a Benny Parsons card in there, strangely enough. Bill Elliott, yeah. Benny was the 73 champion. Maybe they just didn't have a deal with Benny back then with this particular set. Or maybe they just wanted it to be a 10-card set. So I really like that set. And I just like the history, the way that the set levels out. Then I have just one final set here, but it's going to be in three segments to just show you guys a couple of things. This is the 89 Crisco Maxx Racing set, based off the 89 Maxx design, but was released in conjunction with Crisco and their racing team that was owned by Buddy Baker, driven by Greg Sachs at the start of 89. So we'll go through that, and of course there's Greg in the card number 1 position. I believe it might be card number 2 if the cover card actually is numbered. So nope, it is actually card number 1. And I'll show you a little difference here, excuse me, in some of the cards. Darrell Waltrip, Ken Schrader. There we have Bill Elliott, and you see the Crisco cards will have the Crisco band across the upper left-hand corner of the card. Now when you flip the card over, it's identical on almost every way to the regular 89 Maxx. So let's get the Bill Elliott 89 Maxx base set card. And there you see the cards side by side are virtually identical except for the Crisco band across the top. Now if we flip the cards over, the 89 Maxx regular has a triangular shaped track logo in the upper left hand corner, whereas the Crisco cards do not have that, and it's harder to read the number. The number is printed much lower, and the number does not match the base set card. But virtually every other part of the back of the card is identical. So if somebody tries to sell you this as a regular 89 Maxx, it's not. The 89 Maxx Crisco has far less value than the 89 base cards. And I don't know if that's just a production issue, if there were more of the Crisco sets produced, or if it's just because it does not have the mainstream value that the 89 regular cards held. Now also, you will go on eBay and find a lot of people will list this card as Dale Earnhardt's a rookie. That is not true. We all know this to be the rookie, and you can see they even utilized different pictures. This picture was the picture that was supposed to have been used in the 88 Maxx release, but Dale Earnhardt Sr. did not grant them the approval to use him in the 88 set. There is an 88 Maxx card of Dale that was released later on, I believe, in the 96 Maxx Made in America set. That's kind of one of the cards on my to-get list, and it'll be one that I'll probably have to save up a little bit for because it does fetch a nice dollar. But anyway, this is not the Dale Earnhardt rookie. The previous card that I just showed you is. So beware if you do go onto eBay and people try to sell you this as the Dale Earnhardt rookie. It is not. It is a nice card to have. I do enjoy this card. I do appreciate his card. But none of the cards in this set are rookies. So we have Terry Labonte, a Jeff Bodine, a Brett Bodine, a Davey Allison, Ricky Rudd, he was driving for Kenny Bernstein at that time, Kyle Petty in his first year for Sabco, Alan Kowicki in his next to last year with Xerox sponsorship. Xerox bailed out after the 1990 season. Neil Bonnet in his first season back with the Wood Brothers after driving for Raymock and Junior Johnson. And then you have Rick Wilson driving for Morgan McClure. Harry Gant, who was driving for the Jackson Brothers. And I'm sorry about the glare on these. My camera's having a little trouble focusing today, but we'll get past it. We have Richard Petty, who was nearing the end of his career. 1989 was the first season Richard drove in his career dating back to 1958 that he did not score a top 10 finish. And also, he would repeat that in 1992. So he had 2 seasons from 1958 to 1992 that he did not record a top 10 finish in any race. He did have a top 10 finish in 1990 at Pocono and 1991 at Watkins Glen, but 1989 was the first of 2 seasons that he failed to record a top 10 finish. Phil Parsons, in his last year for driving for the Jackson Brothers in 1989, Sterling Marlin in his third year of driving for Billy Hagan. And this was their first year with the Sunoco sponsorship. Bobby Hillen, who was in his next to last year of driving for Stavola Brothers, but this was the last year that they would carry Miller Brewing Company. Miller Brewing in 1990 would go with Rusty Wallace and Raymond Beadle. Michael Waltrip, who was in his second year driving for Bahari. He actually drove for them in 87 as well, but the team was kind of, the Bear family had partially owned that team, and so they was kind of going through an ownership transition in 87. So I look at 88 as his first full season driving for Bahari, as the team was owned by Chuck Ryder at that time. Dale Jarrett driving for Cale Yarborough in 1989, his first full season in that car. He drove a partial schedule in 1988. Morgan Shepherd, who was driving for Raymock in 1989. And then here is the Crisco car. I know it's a little bit hard to see with the lighting in here, but it was a very attractive car with those chrome numbers, that nice dark blue front half of the car. The back half was a lighter blue with a red stripe in the center. A very, very attractive car, and there's a little bit better picture of it. But that is the 89 Maxx Crisco set. And this is the Maxx 89 Preview set as well. Very similar to the 89 Maxx cards. There are 2 different cover cards. This one actually has a checklist back. And this one, the other cover card, has a Grand National Scene offer on the back. The only card that I need really out of this set is the card with this front, the Bill Elliott car front, and the checklist back. And then this set will be 100% complete. But I have a Jeff Bodine, Bill Elliott, Bobby Hillen, Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin, Richard Petty, Rusty Wallace, and Michael Waltrip. Those guys made up the 89 Maxx Preview. Now I do have a Bill Elliott here that we can compare. We compared the 89 Crisco with the 89 base. So here we have the 89 base Bill Elliott and the 89 Bill Elliott Preview. So go ahead and flip this one over. The Preview, they're not numbered. That's the only difference. There may be a few wording differences and punctuation differences within the paragraph. I really haven't inspected that up really closely, but the obvious way to tell these two is the base set will be numbered 9, and the preview card will not have a number in that little racetrack triangle there. And I'm sure they probably think that was modeled somewhat after Pocono. If you want to see a unique racetrack, go to Google Images, look at Pocono. The 3 different corners were modeled after 3 different racetracks. Turn 1, I know turn 3 was modeled after, I want to say Trenton, New Jersey, the track that they had there, and turn 2 was modeled after Indianapolis. And I'm really drawing a blank on turn 1, who they said that one was modeled after. But there was 3 different racetracks they modeled that track after. And so each turn has different banking, different radius. The 3 straightaways are different lengths. So it makes it a really, really fun track to watch a race on sometimes, because the one car might handle real good in the first corner but be horrible in the other 2 corners. So the field will catch back up when they go around. So it makes for a fun race. And I'm looking forward to their doubleheader back in. I think the doubleheader's in July this year, so I'm looking forward to that to see how that turns out once we get back to racing here in a couple weeks. But once again, getting real close to 100 subs. We're still at 88. We're inching our way up to that magical 100 mark. When we do, we're going to give away either a Tony Stewart, a King Griffey Jr., or a Braun Strowman rookie. That will be the choice of the lucky subscriber, who will be randomly chosen. I'm still working on getting the rules drawn up. Be very, very simple per YouTube's their contest rules and such. So it'll be very, very simple to enter, but we need to get to 100 subs first. So when we get there, we'll get that rolling. But I do genuinely appreciate you guys watching the channel. Do appreciate your likes, your subscriptions, your comments, and everything going forward. So we're going to keep building this channel and have some fun with it. So once again, we'll get another video tomorrow. I've just got to get some ideas in my head what I want to do. I hope you enjoyed today's video, a few small sets that I personally enjoy. Maybe you all learned a little bit of something about racing cards today. But I see you again tomorrow, and I hope you all have a great evening.